Connie Willis, the podcast. Taking you into new ways of thinking, even providing answers to questions you've often pondered. Connie Willis, the podcast. This is a Connie Willis exclusive. Whistleblower. What you're about to hear has never been heard anywhere else. This is Connie Willis, the podcast.
Connie Willis back with the private military, government contractor, and U.S. Navy Special Warfare veteran. Robert Treat is with us discussing his life, his background, and what he sees for the future and what he has learned along the way that he's going to tell us about. Whistleblower, informant, these are the names that a lot of people will tag on to him. It's Robert Treat, as well as deathbed confession. However, he's got a chance to make it through. Go to the GoFundMe that is in the description. Take a look, see where you can help.
Informant.
Glen worked for the Foreign Technologies Directorate, and as opposed to the Intelligence Directorate, so he wasn't a spy, right?
That you know of.
It turns out it's very commingled. There's a lot of lines blurred, and
Right, okay.
And in the government, things are often mislabeled. Like the Foreign Technologies Division encompasses a lot of things, and they're not all foreign technologies. Right? Yes, they do cover things like reverse engineering, captured Russian hardware, but they also oversee an enormous range of special projects, research projects that have nothing to do with foreign anything. And it was only later that I learned, the gross intent of a lot of these projects, which followed, in the years after I left the Navy and really went to work for Glen full time. And, it began as a bagman, just making, dead drops or pickups or, to just make a phone call. And after I separated from the Navy, I'd been home for about 6 months, and Glenn had called me up, and he was like, "Hey, I need you to go and check out this group downtown Portland, Oregon. I need you to be a part of it, to make yourself a part of it." So he gave me a contact. I think his name was Gene. The guy I had to call. Anyway, I called him up. He was in Vancouver, Washington, and I met with him and convinced him to bring me in this group. It was called Pacific Group 5.
What's it called?
It was called Pacific Group 5.
Pacific Group 5, okay. And you're out of the military?
Yes, yeah, I'm out at this point. I didn't, re-enlist. They didn't offer any re-enlistment bonuses. Maybe it was because I'd already made contact with Glenn, but a re-enlistment wasn't offered, and I didn't pursue one.
Okay, so it was as simple as that, getting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a standard transition out, nothing eventful, no fanfare, nothing spectacular. I went home to, the house where my wife and kids lived there in Clackamas, Oregon, and, began looking for, employment in the civilian world. So when Glenn called me, that was just right on cue. I was ready. I was tired of sitting around, and I'm ready to go and do something. And, being offered a nice fat paycheck with this nefarious group, not knowing what I was going to be doing, I was just like, yeah, like my typical standard mentality was like, I'll do it.
And Glenn likes the fact that you have this great background, this great IQ. What does he know about you that he likes so much?
That I can pick up almost anything very, very rapidly, blend in, fit in, and really present myself that I belong there.
Gotcha.
That I belong in that role. And I did. Anything I did, I belonged in that role. I owned it. I took it on. And my
You
role
blend right in with everything.
And my role was with Pacific Group 5 was to help them secure um, financing for the project they were working on, which was a bacterial agent. Um, and specifically engineering and training bacteria to consume radioactive waste. So I stepped into that role, secured the financing, built the facilities in tri-state Washington to start the first batch of breeder tanks for these bacteria.
Hi.
And the initial one that we developed was one that would eat the sulfur link in vulcanized rubber. Right. So in order to make rubber is very hard and brittle. Raw rubber is. You have to add sulfur to it in a process called vulcanization to make it pliable for use in tires and other things. And so this bacteria was to eat sulfur link. They were going to grind up these old tires, right, and have the bacteria eat the sulfur links, turn it back into virgin rubber, and then resell it as a recycled material. And I thought that was a great project, so I jumped on that and pulled that together. After I'd finished, that job.
And when you say you pulled it together and you finished the job, are you saying that your job's not to be the scientist in there helping do that part? Your part is to go get the money.
Yeah, to raise the money, to procure the equipment, to get it on site, installed, facility built, and ready for the scientists and support staff to go in and start operations.
So you're like an investor, or you go get investors?
I considered myself more of a cooler. When you get money people and government people and scientists all involved in the same project, they all start arguing about who's in charge. And you need a cooler to come in, kind of like the Patrick Swayze character in Roadhouse, right?
Yes.
You step in and you're like, okay, all this arguing crap, it's over with. You all aren't in charge. I am. And we're going to finish this, and we're going to do it on schedule, on budget, or you're gone.
That's
This
like
project
so
won't
you.
happen.
That's like so you. That's you.
Yeah, it is.
So okay. So where did you get this knowledge and experience that you're the money man?
I have no idea. It just, he said, "Can you pull this together?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can pull it together."
Wow.
Um,
I mean, isn't that odd? Am I asking a wrong question here?
I don't know if it has to do with, my childhood education, which was very advanced, or
Okay.
if it was something one of my instructors told me, which is never give me no for an answer. If you don't know, say you'll find out and get back to me.
Okay. So it's not because you're a soldier and you like got a gun and go, all right, everybody, you're going to make this work. It's nothing like that, right?
No, I actually put the effort into, once I accepted the role, I put the effort into acquiring the knowledge I needed, to fully prosecute that role.
Excellent. I gotcha. Excellent. So you put the business suit on now.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about, bacteria other than basic biology. So I read the business plan and I'm like, okay, so, this is what needs to be done, blah, blah, blah. We need, breeder tanks. What are those? So, I would research what breeder tanks are, different types of breeder tanks, where to get those tanks. Talk to architects to get the facility designed on where to put those, tanks, and just kind of like hold all the threads together. And that was what I was really good at, is holding a lot of threads.
Excellent.
Right. And knowing, like a spider, right? You pull on any thread in spider web, that spider knows what's going on. Right. And that's how I was. I would hold all the threads, and whatever moved, whatever twitched, I had control of that.
Marionette, you got you're moving all the arms and the legs and all that. And yeah, so this is your business. This is where you're coming to business. You're the businessman. I met Robert, you guys, years back, and I met him as the business guy. He's a successful businessman wearing suits. And so it went from this switch of military, boom, into the suit man. Yeah,
and that really became my role. I was always, one job to the next was, some sort of management, keeping it was like herding cats, really. keeping all the players and all the moving parts. Everything's got to work and keep moving forward. We don't have time to get bogged down arguing and stupid, inconsequential stuff.
Right.
It's got to happen. It's going to happen. Don't think you're not replaceable. I'm not replaceable. You're not replaceable. So, if you want the paycheck at the end of this project, let's do it.
Wow, that's excellent. Okay, all right. I'm with you now. I'm caught up.
So, following that project with Pacific Group 5, I didn't know that creating that was going to be part of a larger agenda down the road. And it wasn't for many, many years that I saw how all these projects fit together, and that, Glen was using me in a strategic way, basically moving through time and industry, all for a unified goal. And these projects, it didn't seem to be related at all, but they were.
Oh, okay. That's where we're getting to. I'm like, I know there's a mystery coming up. Here's where it is. I gotcha.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. What the overall picture was.
When did you see the overall, and I don't want to skip anything good. So if there's something else in between, let me know. But when did you see that, hey, this is all making sense to something else now? Or did it just pop up on you one day?
It popped up on me one day quite by chance. Many years later in New York at the Millennium Hotel, I was at this meeting.
Say that again, the
Millennium Hotel.
Okay.
How all these things connected came through a chance conversation that happened at a party at the Millennium Hotel.
Where's
in New
the
York.
Millennium? Oh, okay, in New York. Okay.
Yeah, Times Square. So from Pacific Group 5, I went into helping a project which was manufacturing what was called super absorbent, and this is a product that's available today in products like Miracle Grow potting soil. Mm-hmm. Those little pellets. They can. Well, this product could hold 1,000 times its weight in water, and it was being developed for agricultural reclamation projects in Africa. But they couldn't get in to Africa where they wanted to be. So I was asked if I could, secure facilities and contract, and if possible, funding from the Ethiopian government. And I actually got that done and got the facility installed in Zanzibar.
This is amazing. You are the money man. They're going to do a film on you. That's amazing, Robert.
And this same company was also doing the gas detection systems at the Umatilla Army Depot in Umatilla, Washington, which is where we store all of our nerve gas. So the next project I rolled into was installing these gas detection systems around the nerve gas. And I put 3,000 detection points in every single bunker. If so much as a single molecule of gas escaped, those alarms are going to go off. So that was a big score. Getting that whole thing pulled off, especially dealing with the Army, which is a nightmare. And from there is when it began to get interesting, very interesting.
What you just heard has never been heard anywhere else. This is Connie Willis, the podcast. Learn more about Connie, her guests, and be sure to join her private membership shows, Blue Rock Talk and Connie After Dark, at ConnieWillis.com. Whistleblower.